In this video, I'm going to show you how to draw and color this snowman. Stick around. Grab your supplies. I'm going to use from the Colors of Kindness Crayola box this light blue color that's called Sky's the Limit. It's powder blue, but you don't have to use this. You can use any light blue color that you'd like. Something that maybe leans on the gray side. I'm also using a Jumbo number 2 pencil. I'm using Jumbo just because it helps my hands better because I have arthritis. And this dust-free eraser. Any eraser works. As you see here, my favorite is just actually a big clicky pencil. Mechanical pencils are my favorite, but these are easier on my hands. Let's start out by drawing 3 circles. The head, the body, and then the lower body part. So each circle is going to be a little bit bigger, and you're not going to draw the top of the circle. You're just going to draw the bottom part. It's going to make it look like each snow mound is sitting on top of the other one. Next, we'll move on to the carrot for his nose. Just pick a place in the center of the top circle, right in the center. Keep in mind that when you're drawing any of this, it does not have to be perfect. When you make a snowman, has it ever been perfect? No, not at all. Here's our coal eyes. You know, his eyes made out of coal. Well, coal is not shaped perfectly, so that the eyes can be wonky. And I think that he had buttons for a mouth. I'm not sure, but we're going to put circles here, and we'll color those in. Again, don't worry about perfection. And a little eyebrows. Now for the scarf. We're going to draw it as if he's wearing an actual scarf. So just draw your lines on there. Make them rounded so that it looks like it's shaped around his neck. Draw the long piece of the scarf down. Extend it as long as you would like it to be. And then you want to draw the tassels at the bottom. We're going to add some stripes. There will be the sections for the stripes. And then we're going to add the buttons on the middle section of his body, as if he's wearing a button-down shirt. Now, we can't forget his arms. I'm just going to add little sticks here. If you would like them to be tree branches or to have some sort of hands, feel free to make this as detailed as you want. And now on to the hat. Start in the middle of the top of his head and move your arch line over the top. Just sketch it on. This will be the underside of the hat. So if you do mess up, we're going to color that in so it's not going to be that big of a deal. Now the next part is the top of the hat. Now, the snowman's wearing a hat. It's not going to be a brand new hat. It's going to be a hat that your dad or your mom will let you take out and put on a snowman. So it's going to be a worn out hat. Now, clean up any crazy lines that you may have before we move on to the next part. Just use the corner of your eraser. Now grab a pen and outline all of your pencil markings. This is where you really shape up what you did with the pencil. This is why what you did with the pencil doesn't really matter. You're just creating a guideline for what you're going to do with the pen. Outline all your areas. Now you think, oh, we're making a circle, and I don't know how to make a circle. Yeah, circles are difficult, so take it a section at a time. Just go around a little section at a time. Draw what feels comfortable to you. Move your hand around, as you'll see as I'm doing. and then just connect the lines. Now, your scarf is going to be fluffy, so it does not have to be perfectly straight lines. Just go over it how you want. Add your tassels here, and then you'll want to just keep on working here while you create your lines, create your fluffiness, making the snowman very cozy while he's standing outside in the winter time. And keep drawing your lines with your pen and going around. We'll do the buttons next. Now, the more that that it's not perfect, the more character it has to it. You're doing a great job. I know that even if you're just watching and not drawing it, you're doing a great job because you're learning by watching. As you see there, I did a little wobble. You just connect it. It'll be fine. And I'll show you a secret for how to make these fine lines. You just won't even notice the mistakes later on. And one time I had a teacher that I really absolutely adored. She was so smart. She was a theater teacher at the high school. And one of her favorite sayings was, do something creative every day. Now, once this dries, you can go in with your eraser and make sure that your ink is dried or it'll just smear your ink. But as she would say, do something creative every day, and I would think about that. I'm like, that is so true. Like, if you can do one creative thing a day, doesn't matter how small it is, you're really engaging your brain in a way that just brings so much joy. Even if you got to the part where you just pencil sketched the snowman, you did something creative today. Now I'm going in with the light blue. It's kind of like a light blue-gray color. Remember, it's the Sky's the Limit, one of the new crayons that Crayola released this year with its Color of Kindness collection. I'm going to go in with this and just shade underneath the places that would have a bit of a shadow. You know, coloring snow is not easy because it's white. But, you know, snow's not always white. There's so many different shades to it, and especially if it's, let's just say it's not dirty snow. Where do you put the shadow? You know, I mean, you would have to just figure out. It's trial and error. But I'm also going to color in some of the scarf just to give it some contrast to all the white. And I may go in and go with a darker color. I think I may do that. So let's put some shadow underneath the scarf and underneath the rounder part here, and where that middle part of the body would sit on the bottom part. We'll add shadow there. And of course, at the bottom, where it's near the ground. Now you'll see a little bit of this texture that I have. I have a textured table that this paper is on top of. So when you color yours, it may have a smoother surface than what mine has, just because I have a textured table. Now I'm going to get a darker color. I like to get a midnight blue, and I can only find that in my vintage crayon set. So let's pull it out. And and use this vintage midnight blue. You can see that it is so old. It is from the 80s. Okay, this whole set is. It was gifted to me. I haven't kept it for that long. It was gifted to me a couple of years ago. You can barely read the words. And it's got something like the waxiness has gotten hard, like the wax has seeped through the label. That's what that is. But the crayon is just as creamy as they were in the 80s. It's wonderful. I have about 10 different boxes of crayons that I've recently purchased. None of them have the midnight blue in it. I don't even know if Crayola still makes midnight blue. I need to look that up and find out. Hold on a moment. I'm going to look it up. Okay, so here's your information about midnight blue from the Crayola fandom wiki page. It was introduced in 1958 in Crayola. It was formerly known as Prussian blue, but they changed the name to midnight blue because they didn't think that children would really understand. It wasn't a relevant name for children. It's still in production. It's just a dark blue color. It's still in production. And up until 1997, it was in the 48 and 64 count boxes. But now you can only get it in the 96, 120, and 152 count Crayola boxes. I'm really glad they didn't get rid of midnight blue. It's one of those colors that you just need whenever you need something that's just not blue, but darker than blue, but also, of course, not black, right? I think that darkening up this scarf is going to make it look better. I like this idea. I think that the next time I draw something, I'm definitely going to put something underneath the paper so that I don't have the texture. It works for this picture since this is a snowman, but I like to have the smooth surface option also. Yeah, I think this is coming along fine. Now, for the carrot nose. We're going to take mac and cheese from the Colors of Kindness box and color in this carrot. Yes, perfect. I love it. Just the perfect amount of toxic orange for the mac and cheese. Now let's take the brush marker. The brush marker can be so terrifying, but you just take a deep breath and you draw the line. You're going to go, this is only going to go as an outline around the outside of the snowman. It's really going to make him pop. My middle school art teacher had told me that whenever you have anything that is a cartoon that's not realistic, always draw a black outline around it, that it just makes it look better. And she has always been so right about that. That has been something that I've always remembered. It's easy to overthink this process. I've noticed that when I start overthinking is when I start to mess up. But if you just take a deep breath and you just try your best to make one big connecting line, you won't have that big glom of lines. But don't worry about it. You're not getting this isn't an art class. You're not getting a grade on this. This is just for fun. And nobody has to see it. So just continue working one section at a time. With the marker brushes, of course, depending on how hard you press, depends on how thick the line is, and that can sometimes be what makes it more difficult because you don't really have a gauge as to, it's like you're on your own. You have to monitor yourself with it. Not only do you have to monitor your strength of pressure on your own, but then you also have to pay attention to where are you going with this line. So there's a lot to think about when you're using a brush marker. And usually whenever I'm drawing anything, I don't want to think. I'm doing this for fun. I realize that his eyes are made of coal. Coal is black, not blue, so we need to color that in. Let's give his eyebrows a little bit of definition and to go around what seems to be appropriate here for coloring in. And we're almost done here. We're going to just outline the remaining parts. Almost finished. We're in the home stretch. You kind of make this a little bit bumpy right through here. And outline the scarf. Give it a little bit of, texture to it so that it looks like an actual furry scarf. Color in his buttons. And then we're going to give a little bit thicker line around his arms and the bottom part of his midsection. I think we need just a little bit more. Let's just do some loose hatch marks right through there, just to give the impression that this is probably a black hat that may have gotten faded. Now you're free, of course, to add your own texture, coloring, but definitely put your initials, and you might want to put what year it is. If you get old like me, then you're going to forget what year you drew something. I'm so proud of you. I know you did a great job. If you drew it, tag me in it. I'd love to see your work. Like and subscribe for more content like this, and I hope you have a blessed day.